Hi, good day. I am 𝑾𝒐𝒓𝒍𝒅, Councillor for the Electoral District of Barrackpore West in the 𝑃𝒂𝒃𝒆𝒔 region. And today we are hosting a diabetic eye screening in partnership with the Trinidad Eye Hospital. So we have Leanne and Vashti from the Trinidad Eye Hospital, and joining us is Chairman Dr. Alan Sami of the 𝑃𝒂𝒃𝒆𝒔 Regional Corporation. This has been in the making for a couple of weeks, and finally today, September 30th, we've had this program, and we've registered just under 40 persons from communities, rural communities that would have diabetes, and would have engaged in the diabetic eye screening. So I'll just pass you over to Leanne to tell us about the program.
Alright, so basically our aim is to reach as many diabetics as possible. There are about 200,000 diabetics in Trinidad today. A lot of them do not have access to regular eye care. So we created the Diabetic Eye Screening program, which is a free program where we go out to different communities and we do free screening. The screening allows us to pick up diabetic changes. With diabetes, you don't usually notice problems until it's too late. So the aim of the screening process is to detect these changes early and get these people into the eye clinic so that their sight can be safe.
Well, what Leanne said, we go around, we check diabetic patients, sometimes non-diabetic patients will have different lesions. We also pick up cataract, glaucoma, other eye degenerated diseases that could affect the vision. And by picking up these cases early, we treat them and try to prevent further blindness, which will cause more stress financially and emotionally on families and the person himself.
And then we also look for refractive errors, which is a big problem as well. Right? So what we've noticed is that about 16% of the diabetic population has sight-threatening retinopathy. So that is terrible in comparison to countries like United Kingdom, which is about 5%. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So there you have it. Diabetes certainly has a domino effect on the body. Not only in different parts of the body, but it does have an impact mentally and emotionally as well. And there's a whole social aspect that comes with it, where the state has to expend monies to treat with diabetes and care for it. So I'll ask Dr. Sami to contribute on this topic, something he has been talking about for quite some time.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Councillor Nicholas, and the Trinidad Eye Hospital for this initiative. I was shocked when a few months ago, MP Tanko hosted a medical clinic at the school in 𝑘𝒐𝒓𝒍𝒅, and that the area that was most subscribed was the eye doctors there, and most people went to them, and it is only then it occurred to me how badly off we are from the point of view of diabetes and the need for eye care. Clearly this is linked to a number of factors, one of which in my view is health and nutrition. We don't as a people pay much attention to it, and even though local foods are promoted, people still have a preference for foreign stuff and deep frying in oil and so on, which is being abused quite frankly, and people suffer the consequences of it. I've advanced on another theory for many years that unfortunately in rural areas people have been living under severe stress all their lives, and that this stress manifests itself in many ways, one of which is diabetes. Now people may say, well, that's a quantum leap you're making, but it's something that I believe is deserving of study, because if people have to fight on a daily basis for basic survival, that is to say water, light, roads, electricity and so on, then why should you as a people have to fight for basic services and spend your time doing that? Everybody will tell you a few years ago, people had to still tote water, people had to cut grass, people had to do all kinds of things under very trying conditions, so that people have been always operating under these kinds of physical conditions. But what it does, it affects them mentally, and that is passed on to their children. It may not be obvious to them, but what the literature is suggesting that a lot of people are now inheriting some of those characteristics. So you have pre-diabetic characteristics. Now this is what I've been reading. I don't know if it is new information, or I don't know if it is information that people are now pioneering. But it is something worthy of study, because there are too many people in the Penal area, and I'm sure that this will be found in rural areas generally, and it is related to a large degree to stress, and stress really leads to all kinds of organ failures and organ functioning, and I don't think that link is well known either. But if I can go back to the issue of health and nutrition, we must return to health and nutrition. It will mean less work for the Trinidad Eye Hospital in the long run, but that is long after we are gone. But the journey must start now, and we must therefore address the whole issue of eye care and indeed all care, and I'm linking it back to health and nutrition and to people living under stress.
So thank you very much for those very informative pieces of information, Chairman. And you know, as a people, and even as those in leadership positions throughout the country, we often have to solve issues and to deal with problems. And we always find people dealing with issues by solving the surface issue and not the root issue. So food and nutrition to me seems as it's the root issue. And if we deal with that and get that right, then it will have a domino effect. And not only with treating with diabetes, but most chronic illnesses, and just how we live our lives, and we of course advocate for the daily stresses to be eased as well. So giving people access to basic needs and necessities. So thank you so very much.
May I add one more if I can? For example, now in Penal, we supply water to 612 houses which have many homes, many families in the same home or in the same house. Now 612 people have not received water for weeks in Penal. They're not connected to the water system, and they have not received from us because we don't normally deliver in the rainy season. And you can imagine the stress that those people are suffering. And many of them have young children, babies and so on. Many of them are recovering from COVID. Many of them have senior citizens, and they all need the water and that very basic supply. And we're talking about now in September 2021, people are living under that kind of stress, and it must obviously affect their health. It affects their physical health and it affects their mental health. So these are issues that must be examined in totality to address the issue of eyes and diabetes.
So you see, there we have it. Treating with our healthcare and our basic needs of water and even education, it has to have a holistic approach. It can't happen in silos, and this is where we need all stakeholders to come together to really bring about the necessary change that we need. And with that being said, I really want to thank Rashmi and Lian from the Trinidad Eye Hospital. Chairman, thank you so much for the time to get here and to join with us. And to the 40 participants or persons in the communities who would have registered, you really got a nice opportunity. And I'm sure we will partner with you all in the coming weeks to host this type of clinic throughout the Penal region. So thank you so much, and have a good day.